You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hi there, the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Anna. I'm here with another one of your hosts, Paul, and we are here to jump back into our This Year in Classic Gaming series in no particular order. So today the order we're going to go back to is 1987.
Yeah. Random generator. It's not even organized enough to put it into a random number generator. It's just we're doing 1994 today, and then we message back like, I don't know, I feel, no inspiration looking at that list. How about bloody, which one of us is gonna look at our own website and tell the other one which years we have left to do? Because they all blur together.
It is literally what happened. So I went to our website. I was like, oh, find all the year of ones. And I wrote down all the ones we did. And we talked about the ones that were left. And you know what? Write us in. Tell us why we should be doing 94. Maybe it's not a bad year. Maybe there's more to it than we thought. But for us, we figure 87 had more to talk about.
Yeah, well, no, it's a good point about 94, just on the subject, because it was like surprisingly barren. I mean, I guess everybody listening by now probably knows that I just searched the adventure games from it. So bear that in mind in case. Sorry, my cat's on my drum set. Come on, Pound Cake, bloody get off the drum set, sweetie. Come on. So anyway, terribly, that was really distracting. I'm sure I was saying words that had something to do with a subject that would make sense to this podcast. Oh, 94, super barren 94. In adventure games. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of shocked that after 100 and, I don't know, 20, 30, whatever episodes we've done that we haven't stopped to just kind of say out loud, like, wow, 94 was like a quiet year, at least for adventure games.
Yeah, what were a couple of those ones that came out in 1994?
Yeah, we might as well look, because it was. I mean, neither one of us was the least bit interested in doing that year tonight. Which means if we do it, it'll be the last one we do, kind of, if ever.
Mm-hmm. So, I think I had like 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Under
a Killing Moon. 3 games in there.
King's Quest. Yeah, that's a good one. I like Under a Killing Moon. I like the King's Quest 7. Well, I wasn't a big fan of the game, but that's in there.
Yeah, exactly. And there was Beneath the Steel Sky, which is quite revered. And there were some other ones. Again, we'll do this year eventually someday. But I guess maybe what it came down to is that really between the two of us, we both played Under a Killing Moon 25 years ago, and you played King's Quest 7 and didn't like it. So we're like, let's just let's do 1987. So that being said, 1987 features some beloved games of Anna and mine, because it was a good year for Sierra. It was also a great year for LucasArts, but per LucasArts and this whole series of the best of with them is that, you kind of only get one from them a year, unless there was like, a Star Wars action game or whatever coming out as well. So that being said, it's kind of the same deal. But anyway, so we've got some games that we're going to talk about that we've talked about a bit before in our extensive back catalog, but we've also find ourselves in a unique position where we now have kind of almost suddenly almost twice as many listeners as just really recently, like before the summer, let's just say, to now has almost doubled. So there's a lot more of you, maybe, because we did take a long break by accident. And, so hi, sorry. And we're back and all that. So if you guys all made it through that break, thank you. We just had to do a thing with a thing. Mm-hmm. As to not give too much away.
That was actually exactly what happened. It was the thing with the thing. So
yeah,
that's good. I mean, and if you didn't do the thing with the thing, we'd be stuck. So I'm glad that we worked it out.
Yeah, me too. No, it was a vile activity, but yeah, we got it. We got it worked out, thank God. So the point is that we're going to tread some old ground again. To our old listeners, mm-hmm. I guess this is me kind of apologizing, because again we've got a whole bunch of new ones too, but also maybe I shouldn't apologize, because it's like, you know what you get when you tune in to this show. You're gonna get, a lot of Sierra stuff, and just a lot of the same, because that's kind of how the classic genre works, right? Like, you don't listen to classic rock and be like, God, they're always bloody playing Led Zeppelin, because it's a finite genre, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing with classic. So I'm assuming you tune into the show because you're down with hearing things repeated, and things that you like repeated. Um, and there's going to be kind of a lot of that this episode, because 87 was completely quality, not quantity. And those few numbers, those few games, we've talked about them all, but we're bloody going to do it again. But we're also going to pay attention to the games we didn't talk about. And Anna is going to force me to talk about non-adventure games at some point, maybe, probably.
I have to give him notice, and then he'll be like, we're out of time. But hey, if you guys are lucky, we will. And we might even bring up an Ultima game. I mean, hold on, wait and see, but not right now.
Yeah, exactly. If there was one, there probably was. There's always one that we miss.
So yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to just start this off with a game I played in the past, but I didn't spend a huge amount of time with, and that's Mixed Up Mother Goose. Did you ever
Nice.
get a chance to play that one through?
Yeah, I played it really briefly as a kid, just enough to kind of remember putting my own name in and picking a child that looked like me and being excited about that. And then my more recent memory of it is I played it with my son like a year ago, and he liked it, but he had actually already played like to completion, like Echo Quest and Day of the Tentacle, and Willy B Mission, a few, not by himself, granted, with me, but I mean, like, sat through these entire whole games, and like humongous games. So Mixed Up Mother Goose, like, it wasn't enough stimulant for him, I guess. Like, I didn't start him on it. It was too late anyway. But yeah, it's adorable.
I think, yeah, that's about the same with my son. We tried getting into it together, but he didn't. I guess it was the graphic style being, obviously very simple, and it wasn't like, it was cute, but it wasn't like super engaging to a 10-year-old boy in this day and
It's too
age.
late. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
maybe even then, because it is very pandering. It is nothing but a fetch quest, in the sense that you literally just have to find and return missing things, and
Mhm.
it's but at the same time, like, I don't know, I still did have like a weirdly good time with it, just because it was like AGI. And I mean, the version
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I eventually switched to the point and click remaster for his
Mhm.
sake, but we started on the AGI, at least so I could type. But
Yeah, I'm happy they re-released it in 91 anyways. I mean, it's nice to have the option. I don't think I've ever played the point and click version. I've only played the 87 version.
yeah, yes, yeah. I guess kind of like I just said, I played them both, and it's you can, it's like, if you know Sierra AGI, if you know any of the Sierra SCI remakes in your head, then you can just immediately kind of imagine, you can render it in your head what the AGI version would look like, and that's it. And yeah, it's fine. It's no more like complex or anything. It's just more like bells and whistles and whatever. But yeah, it's nice.
Well, the 91 version of the game, it was like the first CD-ROM that Sierra had ever put out. So I was like a test. You're going to do a re-release on something and, make sure it works out well instead of investing in a whole brand new game for it. I think that's a sound philosophy.
Yeah, and I guess, like, on a sort of nerdy side, there's like an argument. There's some cloudiness in the statement that Mixed Up Mother Goose was the first like PC game on a CD-ROM, because I've heard that
Mhm.
said before, but I've also heard it reduced down to like adventure game or whatever. But
Yeah, I think
it
it was just Sierra's first, wasn't it?
yeah, I'm still not entirely sure, because I did do like
Hmm.
a brief
Hmm.
hunt for this a while back for a different episode, and I never found anything
Hmm.
100% conclusive, because it was like,
Interesting.
it wasn't claiming to be the first like multimedia thing, like I think that was like a
Mm.
encyclopedia, but it was claiming, to be the first like interactive, I guess, game in general. So I don't know if anybody else does know the answer, like the solid answer. That'd be cool to know. Maybe again,
Mhm.
fallback is, we could always just put an asterisk and say probably the first adventure game, because it was Sierra in 91. That's who it would have been.
Mhm.
But yeah. Anyway, there's a bunch of versions of that game.
Mhm. So good game. I think they ran into the space game. Maybe playing Mixed Up Mother Goose. Don't quote, not look at it.
Yeah, Mixed Up Mother Goose wouldn't be a. It's definitely in the kids genre of like, don't, if you're not probably gonna have a good time with it like in your 40s sitting down like with like a glass of wine and Mixed Up Mother Goose. Like, well, actually, I don't know. I could be talked into it, but it's not like Echo Quest where I'd be like, yo, you're actually gonna sincerely have fun and enjoy yourself. Mixed Up Mother Goose, it's like, yeah, if you want like a quick little, nostalgia kick to the heart sort of thing, jolt to the whatever, bloody, fire it up and give it like 4.5 minutes. That's all you'd need. Otherwise, unless you have a kid.
Yeah, and even then, depends on the age. But it's cute. It's cute. Cuter. Your version might even be cuter. I like the little AGI graphics. I think they are adorable. But I haven't picked up the game and played it again recently.
Yeah, well, I do like the AGI better, but the point and click is easier.
So yeah, I think that's about it for that game. It's been used in jokes. It was kind of cute, and I don't think I have anything else to say about it.
Yep, no, it's just that's it. Yeah, it is sucking the inspiration and charisma out of me talking about it. It is drying me up.
Had to get it out of the way, man. That's how it is. Here, why don't you bring up a more interesting adventure game, Paul?
Okay, one of, if not Anna's favorite, Leisure Suit Larry, in the land of the bloody lounge lizards. Scott, don't let me say that wrong. Well, Al did this by himself too, didn't he? With like Mark Crow doing the art or whatever.
Yeah, essentially. And I mean, like, I think one of the main differences he pointed out, might have even been during our interview, I'm not sure, but that he wanted to take a game that was not personal and then make it about a character. Like the game was just like soft porn was about the guy, and the Leisure Suit Larry games became about Larry as a character. So I think he gave it a shift that it really needed to go into the three-dimensional world.
Right. Yeah, it was missing a dimension, kind of figuratively and literally. Yeah.
Although it's pretty go back and tech. This is really close. Like I didn't realize how close together the storylines were. I mean, it's the same, right?
Yeah. I'll still have to really play soft porn to like kind of 100% confirm myself. But yeah, from as you said, from speaking to Al in the interview we did with him, which was delightful. God, he's so cool. Essentially positive energy kind of person. But anyway, yeah, he certainly gave us, or gave me, the impression that it was, a lot more copy and paste than I thought it was too. Like a lot less inspired from and a lot more soft porn, but with changes.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that he took it from there and turned it into its own series and, its own personality and everything. So yeah, it's a great game. I love the AGI graphics. I love the quirky little death scene. I mean, just to put in the fact that when you die, you go underground and you end up in a factory and they have to make a new Larry and send him back up. Right there is enough to engage just about anybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, Larry's so good. Larry, I mean, it's such a quintessential part to any kid that like had had snuck a copy or had copied a friend's copy or just snuck it from their own dad or whatever the case. Like anybody that's got that kind of little thrill story growing up that had this kind of taboo apple in the Garden of Eden kind of vibe about it that this game did, including for myself. Right where my dad had this game and it was like. I do have one vivid memory of like getting yelled at to leave because he was playing it. Yeah, maybe not yelled at, but shooed, and then I think I have like a really even vaguer memory of like my mom like yelling at my dad, or like again not yelling, scolding, whatever, about like me not being around that game or whatever the case. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, Larry, if you grew up with that in your childhood, as a lot of people did, it's like Larry becomes like this mythical beast. It's like this I don't know, it has a different life to it because it was like this crazy forbidden fruit. And then when you finally get a hold of the game, like you can sleep with the prostitute and you can do a lot of the wrong things, like crossing a street without looking both ways, all the things kids are told not to do. You can do them and find out what the price is.
Which is great. I mean, I handed the game over. Hey, curse me not. I started playing the game when I was 9. I handed the game over to my 11-year-old, the text version, about a month and a half ago. And I'm like, just play this game and see how far you can get. The first thing I said is, you have to make it into the bouncer's door on your own. And I've learned a few things that kids don't know nowadays. For one, he doesn't know to order a whiskey or what a whiskey is or why somebody would want a whiskey. I mean, the whole concept eluded him. When he got upstairs, he finally did get upstairs to see the lady in the room above the bouncers. He didn't know what to do with her. He talked to her. He looked at her. He tried kissing her, and then he's like, there's nothing else to do in this room, and he walked out. I mean, seriously, without certain amounts of knowledge, how does a kid play it? Which leads the question, when I was 9, how the fuck did I finish this game?
Yeah, that's concerning.
It's very concerning. Something happened to me I didn't know about. I don't know. But no, my dad helped me. You mentioned that you weren't, my dad just here, and I'm like, help me get in. So I'd ask him the question, he'd help me get in, and he didn't care. So I was pretty lucky.
Yeah, I don't think I actually ever did play Larry 1, but I think I remember down the line I did get to play Larry 7.
I love Larry 7. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's that was 25 plus years ago, so I don't remember it, but I'm sure I liked it.
It's great. It's got a great little box. It's got a scratch and sniff in it. So
That's right. Yeah.
if you go into one room and it'll be 4A, then you scratch it and it smells like, the room you're in. I have 2 scratch and sniffs now from the box. One of them smells like a leather suitcase all the way through. Even if you scratch it, it's already been scratched. The other one's never been scratched, and I cannot bring myself to put a scratch mark on it. So I don't know.
Die never knowing. Plus, if you kind of broken finally after years scratched it and there was no smell left, that would be devastating.
I know. But no, 7 is great, and I will bring it up now because I don't hear this brought up often. 7 is one of the very, very few games that have text input as well as cursor input, which is something you don't see very often. I saw it in Douglas Adams' Starship Titanic, but really far and few between when developers have put that much effort into a game. You really have to have a lot of passion to even freaking bother to do something like that.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. It was a really cool aspect. And it goes to show too, I really like the heart of a lot of the designers at Sarah seem to really stick by the AGI, how the 2 guys from Andromeda had picked were I guess apparently allegedly given the option to choose SCI or AGI for Space Quest 4, right? And they chose AGI and then were again allegedly informed that perhaps it was more the illusion of choice, and they kind of thought that maybe they 50-50 they'll guess the easy way or they'll choose the easy way, and they didn't. But regardless, it's kind of cool that at the Allo there was still this part of the early Sierra guys that really were attached to AGI, because there's something really fun about it. I get it.
Well, and you want to be friends with the designer. As a kid, I was just as obsessed with Al Lowe as I was obsessed with Leisure Suit Larry. And I don't know, to me, Al Lowe was a character, and a character that I knew was a real human being. So he was just as important to me and just as cool and just as awesome. And, you're always looking for the in-jokes. Where is he on the box? When are they going to joke? When is he going to randomly pop up in one of the games? He's just as famous as Larry.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the cameos were awesome. They were really cool. From any of the Sierra creators that were in there, which is I kind of think all of them. I'm not sure. Did the Coles ever cameo in their games?
I know they're on the boxes, but no, I think somebody can write in and tell me I've totally forgotten, but I don't recall that they have.
Yeah, because we know Jim Walls, the 2 guys, Al Lowe. I don't know about Jane Jensen. Or
It'd be tricky
Marks,
because she does the historical stuff, so it would kind of take them out of context unless they became a character.
Yeah, or I mean, I guess there's always the background sprite possibility, but there's a high chance that stuff wouldn't even be documented. By the way, those them 30 pixels is supposed to be Jane.
Well, you know, yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think they were placed in any games. It's like Roberta was in King's Quest 4. I believe it was her likeness in the portrait that's looking towards the secret passage on the wall. And of course, Ken was all over the place here and there.
Right, that too. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, geez. But I mean,
Yeah.
hey, it was a great year for games. I think that's all I have on that. I want to bring up Police Quest because I was just talking about it the other day. Police Quest 1 was done in that year, and my son has this really wicked tank, and it shoots out smoke, and it's got sound effects, and it's got an all metal body, and it also has it shoots BBs like really really far and really really hard. And so we were setting up target practice with it in the yard. And I'm always the best shot in the house, right? I'm like, oh, adjust, shoot. I get it. Adjust, shoot. And my family, they always bug me. They're like, oh, how come you're so good at shooting? I'm like, freaking Police Quest 1. You know how much? And I mean, you had to manually adjust your sights with the freaking screwdriver on the sights to be able to take your shots in the first one. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's painful. It's really painful. The I think the second, was it first SCI? The second one was the most painful for me with the gun. But it was like oddly satisfying too. The payoff was there.
It was definitely there in the second one. And it's just, you know what, like Paul, it got us to grasp the concept of aim without having to go out and actually shoot a gun. Whether we
Right.
did or
Right.
not, it's not the case. But it was really good at sort of mechanically putting it in my brain so that I knew it was true. Like I went out to summer camp when I was in grade 7 and I was the best at archery. And, you know, anytime I've ever gone shooting, I've just been dead on with aim. It's all in the aim, you know, and I've always credited that to Police Quest.
Oh, that's really interesting. Wonder if anybody else out there kind of feels the same way. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how my aim is.
Yeah, you'd have to shoot something first, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. The only like kind of sport like that I played was hockey, and I was the goalie, so I don't know. It's kind of no point there. I would just last night. I was trying to playfully lob a mostly finished water bottle at a friend of mine because he was on the phone, and I'm a child, and I threw it, and it hit him right in the temple. And it was the bottle cap, like the perfect, the hardest side of the bottle to hit him right in the temple. And I just had this moment of like, I forget sometimes you do hit what you aim for. So maybe don't, you know, because I go to throw something at a friend and I'm like, well, of course I aim for the head. And then it actually like connects. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess sometimes I do hit what I'm trying to, you know, maybe it's next time we'll go for, you know, I don't know, the throat. It doesn't matter.
I can't help it, man. If you can throw something to somebody, why the heck would you waste your steps walking across the room? I mean, getting hit in the head's just a chance you take being around me, so I get it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's as long as it's funny, that's the risk we take. Because if it's not funny then,
can be in hindsight, you know. Funny can even be a year later. Remember that time when he in the head wall to get? Remember how mad you were then? And then you can both laugh and laugh.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're really mad, you can remind them that, you know, in the future you know it'll be fine, and they let you off the hook. All right, listen, doesn't matter. Back to Police Quest. It's a beloved damn game. And I will say too, real quick, we've got actually Police Quest isn't necessarily a beloved game. I mean of mine.
Of ours specifically.
Of ours, yeah,
How
because
many
you do,
more
I
are
do. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have the largest fan base, but man, it's so much fun.
I'm a kid. I want to learn all of the radio codes. Well, you know what? I freaking learned them all. I freaking memorized them. And then, as I've mentioned on the podcast, but you new listeners may not have heard it, I hung out on top of the mountain near my house talking with truckers in the States, and I knew their language, so they accepted me as one of their own. It was amazing.
It sounds like Anna gets by as an adult largely because of Police Quest. It's kind of amazing.
It's the only reason I'm not in jail, I swear.
I've never had a flat tire because of Police Quest.
I do walk around my car. I do the thing because I've learned I will die if I don't. I could
Yeah.
die, you know? I mean, my game could be just over. That would be it. So.
Well, I really like Police Quest because all right, I'm gonna go in strong on Police Quest because this is one that they could use some championing
Yes.
because Larry doesn't, because if you played Larry or you like it, you like it. If you don't like the idea of Larry, you're probably not gonna play it because you're like, fuck that game on principle. And
Yeah.
that's totally cool if that's your take on it. And then Police Quest arguably can suffer the same fate with the way things are and stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a really fun game. It gives you this open world kind of vibe. Like you can choose where in is it Lytton? I think it's Lytton, not Lighton.
Yeah,
Where
it's
you can
Lytton.
Lytton. Thank you. Right, we discovered that at some point throughout the years. In Lytton, you can go, wherever you want. I mean, if it's a destination, let's say, then obviously when you park, as soon as you stop the car moving, it triggers, triggers your entrance into that room. Like it's just, it felt as a kid anyway. Like, and when I say open world, this was 1987 or whatever. So it's like as a kid, it really felt like, wow, I can go anywhere. I can go to the courthouse. I can go to the diner. Sorry, my Italian hand just hit my drum cymbal. Throwing them around the bloody diner. We got you go all over Lytton. You could jump on the highway, and then you're pulling people over. You're dialing your sightseeing, your fire and weapons. You get to go after criminals that are, from traffic violation to wielding a gun at you and stuff. Like it was all just the best kind of overwhelming and intense and a lot for me as a kid. And it's just, it really stuck with me. I think it's an awesome game. And if you like King's Quest or you love Space Quest, and I'm talking like 1 and 2, like AGI Sierra stuff, and you haven't played Police Quest, then for shame. All right, pal. That's bloody. What are you doing? What do you with your entire life, not just this situation? First of
Hard.
all,
Go ahead.
you don't drink enough water. All right, you got to call your mother. No, I'm just saying, Police Quest is a good game. You should play it. Don't play the SCI version. Don't,
No,
because just
don't. I
get the
couldn't even
experience
make
or
it
don't.
through. No,
Yeah.
that's not. But yeah, it's great. I mean, I can imagine somebody growing up not knowing about the Death Angel or not knowing who even Jim Walls is. I mean, this terminology to me is a part of everybody's vocabulary. So I'll bring it up in casual conversation. People are like, they never know what I'm referencing, obviously. But I'm just like, these names have been a part of my life always. Hotel Delphoria, like just all these names running around in my
Yeah.
head. I'm
Yeah.
so shocked as a grown up in my 40s how much this game meant to me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Police Quest is a big one, and I guess on a personal note too, I'll take a side quest. Wow, a side note, a moment to just say that I at the time I would have been bloody, I don't know. I'm like 5 years old, 6 years old. I'm not sure. I'm not doing the math, but so I was young. I just remember playing the games. Honestly, I probably played them a year or 3 after we even got them. But I'm looking at 87, and like these were like, this was definitely the first year I think that we got like a home computer, because like I remember my first 3 games were Police Quest, Space Quest 2, and Gold Rush, and 2 of those 3 came out this year, right? Like, and then there's Leisure Suit Larry, which I know my dad bought. So basically, like, he went to the store and swept up everything adventure wise that came out in 87, and that's kind of what started us. So looking at Police Quest and Space Quest, and it's like, man, these are like the straight building blocks for me personally as far as adventure games. But yeah, so anyway, let me just wrap up Police Quest by saying, bloody play it, because it's going to surprise you how good it is. A lot of people talk about the whole procedure thing and that it doesn't feel like a game, and I just got to say real quick that like it's actually pretty fun. It's like the procedure thing is the simulation, is the being a cop part, and like if you take that out and you're like, because I totally get the ribbing and the just having fun with it. Like, oh, you got to walk around the car, and check every time you leave, you got to walk around all four sides and check it and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm just doing procedures. Is this even a game? But it's like, if you take out, like, being a policeman means following procedure. That is literally what and kind of all you do. So, like, if you take procedure from a police game, then you just get in the car, see a guy, draw a gun, fire it, and there's no game anymore. There's no point. Like, the whole point of being a cop in a like simulated sense, understanding you signed up to play a game designed by a cop to give you a sort of real experience is following the procedures and kind of the thrill of what I would almost probably relate to what I can imagine an aircraft pilot would get. And I'm only being so brave as to imagine that because my father was. I'm definitely not. But I mean, I grew up with it. I get it, where it's like there's this infatuation where you go above the clouds, and if all of your calculations are perfect, a few hours later, you emerge from the clouds again and find to greet you the exact location you thought you'd be at. Right, the exact airport where it's like, and so it's like I kind of get that, right, and that's kind of the just a little bit to equate the thrill of the procedural thing, where it's like if you get everything perfect, the moment happens, the right thing happens, and you stop Baines and blah blah blah. So it's all the price you pay, right? That's, I guess, what I'm saying is the procedure in the game. Sometimes it is grinding, but like I don't think there's like a video game on earth that doesn't have at least a tiny bit of like, get this over with, grind it out, survive it, get the extra lives, whatever, whatever the case is. But yeah, in Police Quest, it's like, that's the price to pay. And then the payoff is obviously when it all orchestrates and pulls off. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I would just like to add in too, people will say, well, the driving sucks. Well, the driving's kind of like the original Grand Theft Auto in a way. It's just an overhead view. You can memorize the map super easily, and you can even slow down the speeds and stuff nowadays. I personally really liked the driving. I have a thing for memorization, so I would memorize where places were and how to get there. So don't let that deter you either. The driving part is fun.
I think it's fun too. It's first of all, if the driving is seriously a problem for you, just go to the menu and put the speed on slow. That's it. Problem solved.
Exactly.
It's the speed set, the slow setting is so slow that it's there's just no way you couldn't do it. It's that ridiculous. But that being said, again, the price to pay. It's like, yeah, sometimes you crash, but like that's why. It's just, I don't. If anybody listening is picking up a small amount of trigger, it's because
Just a little.
it's because, god damn it, there's just this weird thing some adventure gamers get where it's like, I don't want adventure games to have any challenge at all. You know what I mean? And I don't fucking get it. It's like the driving's hard. It's like, well, that's the thing to do. Like, you know what I mean? It's I mean, just watch a movie. Like, what? I don't understand the desire to just run errands. Like sometimes I can get that. That is fun, but I'm just saying, like, if the driving, if you didn't crash 2 or 3 times out of 5 attempts trying to get somewhere, it wouldn't feel good that you got there. Like, there's this weird disconnect between some adventure gamers and consequence, and it baffles me because adventure game genre is the only genre that is not that is not exempt from like dying and consequence and such, where it's like every other genre of video game. I know I do this rant like twice a year. I'm sorry. It's happening. We're in it, people. We're in the trenches. We're bloody in the trenches. We're doing this. It's necessary. Exactly. And I'm just saying, I find it really weird, right? Because then, like, it's like you can't play Mario Brothers and and die, and it's like do, and you're like, God, dying really breaks immersion, doesn't it? It's like you don't bloody say that in Mario, and then take any other genre of video game except for a sport, I guess, and it's like dying is like what matters. It's like or not even dying, but like the consequence part, the like, what if I don't pull it off, and in that case sports is included again because it's all about consequence. So anyway, I'm just saying, okay, the driving can be a little difficult if you don't change the speed to slow, but it's like it feels good to get there because it took a few tries. It's
Well, we
I
all wanted to die, right? I mean, that's what we did. You save it and then you die to see how you can die. Can I die here?
yeah,
Can I?
yeah.
Can I swear? Can I talk about my nudity? Can I take off my clothes? Some games like Police Quest are like, yeah, fuck yeah, go ahead and take off your clothes and see what happens. And I appreciate that in a game.
Yeah, no, it is exactly. It is a beautiful, yeah, and they're ready for it. They're like, look, we're putting you in a shower with a bunch of other, with a bunch of other policemen in a towel. Bring it on, you perverts, because we've got responses, and I love
Yes.
them for it so much.
Yeah, it's like it's disappointing. I'm like, what? I didn't die there? How did I not die there? And I never have to say that to myself in a Sierra game.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's true.
Anyway,
You're like, am I playing? It's just to add on to your point. Like that is like that's a popular thing now. Games where you literally just like through conversations and there's no right way and wrong way, and you experience a game for 6 to 10 hours. But it's like, what does it matter what you're doing then at that point? And as you said, then watch a show.
right, and I mean, I guess to that extent, it's like maybe don't even watch the show. I guess watch a playthrough of it, and then to the
Mhm.
people's response would be like, well, we are like literally instead. And then I'm just like, well, bloody touche, because
Mhm.
I guess that is kind of where we're at now. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I sometimes I really do like no consequence. I totally get that. I really do. I'm just saying I don't understand why you would not have it as just a minimal part of your diet.
Mhm. Well, and you've taken that to heart making your own game, of course, as well, because you're like, yeah, you can play it. And I mean, I'm not going to go around murdering you for no reason, but like if you do something super stupid, then you're probably not going to be okay.
Yeah, to a degree, but if I'm being completely candid, I guess I would say that I can't ignore the fact that the majority of the game's audience would be LucasArts players, because LucasArts players are the dominant market today. Let's just say, like,
Mhm.
heavy air quotes on market. This is adventure games. There aren't
Yes.
statistics and Google Analytics that I'm referring to necessarily, but from just being a passionate fan and deep observation of the last decade, the kind of, I guess you could say, trend is people, adventure games kind of more than certainly went the LucasArts route. If you were to say
Mhm.
which one, like, air quotes, won the battle, it's Lucas, because
Mhm.
that's the model that people have, for the most part, adapted. Obviously there's exceptions.
Mhm.
So well, yeah, with our game with the Phantom Fellows, I was like, look, let's just do, listen, if people don't want deaths, I don't want to bum them out, because I'm like working crazy hard to entertain them and make them laugh. So I don't want to undo that by pissing them off because I'm stubborn about something. So I was like, look, we're gonna do, the game takes place over days, right? Like Gabriel Knight or whatever, and there's 8 days. So I'm like, we'll do one death a day, and to die, you have to do something willing. You have to try. You have to do something that should kill you, that just straight up
Mhm.
should kill you. We're not talking staircases. We're not talking like, touching a piece of glass. Well, I mean, like, just straight up, like, in real life, I would die if I did this. So if you play my game, our game, and you find yourself in that position of like, man, I'd probably die if I did this, just go ahead and just save real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah. But otherwise, that's it. Because I would have been more tempted to pepper in a lot more deaths, but also
Mhm.
luckily for the LucasArts kind of more dominant audience is that I'm doing a tremendous amount of it on my own, including all the art by myself, and animating death scenes takes forever. So there's that too. I don't know if
You
I have
gotta.
that in me. Uh,
That's funny. So yeah, that's pretty good. That's well, I mean, we can't mention all of those games without mentioning another freaking amazing and one of the other adventure games I love to talk about, which is Space Quest 2, also came out in that year.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This year's crazy. Yeah, yeah. Space Quest
So
2,
good.
exactly. And that was, again, one of my, like, I between the Gold Rush and Space Quest 2 and Police Quest, I don't know which one I played first. Like I said, I think my dad just came home with all three and whatever. So it's this mixed up memory to me. And again, actually, if for any listeners in the show going back to like the first episodes, like it probably could maybe even recall me saying every now and then, like, yeah, I don't know which one was my first. It's like they're, and those listeners are like, all right, please stop, going through the spiel every time. But so again, I don't know what the technical one for the second time in just this episode. I don't know what the technical first one is, but Space Quest 2 is amazing. And before I hand it over to you, I would just say that the intro to Space Quest 2 is my favorite first 10 minutes of any game ever. Love it.
Oh, this whole game is beautiful and intimidating for me because it wasn't my first, because 4 was my first. And I was like, uh-oh, that's those games that I put in the same pile at the time as the early King's Quest games, being tricky. It doesn't pause when you're typing, and it's a harder game. So it took me a while to get brave enough to finally run through and do Space Quest 2. So I don't think I played it until after I played 5 or 6.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I've played a lot of things backwards, like you're laying out with Space Quest, but not with Space Quest. It's one of the few I think I actually played forwards.
Well, it's not an easy game, really.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. It's got 2 or 3 sections that really would destroy any argument towards being. It's just not one of Sierra's. It's not hard like Sierra hard because I don't think any of the Space Quests are anywhere near a King's Quest level of hard, but it is difficult for sure. It's not an easy game.
Just a lot of timing. Like I said, for me, it was mostly the intimidation of the non-pausing text box. I was really intimidated with any game that had that, which is why I liked, say, King's Quest 4, because it was at the point where it would pause when you type.
Yeah, I know. That's such a funny argument too, because there really are two sides to it, where it's like pausing where it types means like in a panic you can press anything and you're off the hook. But also like if you're doing, like I was doing a playthrough of, it doesn't matter. Probably Space Quest 2 actually recently, and like what you're doing to the point where like you click open door on the left side of the screen. Like you type open door as he's walking to the right side, and then click.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
everything prepped exactly. And then I mean F3 is always there for you too, because that'll bring it up even in that game.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, really good. You're a good proponent of F3 for this for this show. Yeah. Always reminding people of their function keys.
I love the function keys. I will happily remind people of function keys. But yeah, the space bar wasn't brought in as a pausing mechanism until that next generation. So it was only F3 we had with those early ones.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I remember just the intro to Space Quest 2. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and then the ability to walk, to cling to the building and walk, on the side of it and then upside down it, and you actually have to walk upside down it, which I guess might be right side up now that I think about it. To get it, like just all blew my child mind. But then even as an adult, and I got to credit our mate Rick, used to host the show with us too for this train of thought, which he had planted in my head, which was just how he really had, I think, was talking to us both and kind of had us both really focus on Mark Crow's art at the time. And just how amazing it was in the AGI period, and Space Quest 2 is such an awesome example of just mastery of what a person's doing. Like it may sound silly, it's just old computer crap, but like for somebody working in pixel art, in the EGA palette, like it's just incredible. Like the opening scenes are breathtaking. The use of just the purple and the cayenne and the blue, it's crazy. Like it creates like this whole atmosphere in space with like 4 to 5 colors. And yeah, anyway, it's one of those things. If you're inclined to just have a random moment, you could just look at some art from Space Quest 1 and just be like, wow. Like we're talking, bloody, just 8 colors, and like it feels like space. So yeah,
it's true. So well said. It's a beautiful game, and it's funny. I mean, right in the intro, when you're starting the game, it gives you like a bunch of text before you start, and it's throwing in jokes. It's a little bit extreme, and you you get the humor of the game immediately before you even see what the station looks like.
Yeah, exactly. It lays the foundation. It's got a fun. I really like too. Like it used to be at the bottom of my little Space Quest list because Space Quest is my favorite series, and it's I guess for me it's I guess just sort of fun to constantly resort the order in which I rank them to myself. This is quietly not online, not to anybody. But like I used to always have two as kind of last, and recently it just kind of keeps moving up and up the list. The more because I'd recently replayed it, and the more I recollect that it was just broken down into segments. It was so much fun. Like the intro is quite short before you get kidnapped, but like the kidnap part's kind of fun. I'm not a huge fan of the forest, but like the little vine mazes I thought was really, really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Even using the word maze is harsh because it's,
You didn't expect there to be a jungle, though. You're like, it's a space game. Why am I in a jungle? That was kind of a surprise because I didn't know anything about it when I played it the first time. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is different.
Yeah. And to any newer listeners, if you want to hear deeply contrasting opinions from the same hypocritical person, go back and listen to our episode on the Space Quest series because that was before I replayed 2, and I just tear it apart. I just tore it apart. I'm like, they have the whole galaxy to travel in, and what do they choose? A jungle. Great. Like, and it was just, I wasn't wrong with a lot of those points. I will, obstinately stick by some of them, but after replaying, I'm like, this is actually a pretty good time. The mazes are actually kind of really fun that you can't touch the sides, and being shrunken down and sneaking into the machine was really fun. Like it was a good time. I like it.
I think he went a little meta there. I was watching like a comedian perform the other day, and he was watching himself having an opinion from like a minute ago and like criticizing himself in his own opinion. And then it went into another screen and then he was criticizing himself. He's like, I think I'm so smart, but really I'm just kind of being a dick here. And I think I'm just scared inside. And it kept going in this like total meta way thing. It's kind of like what you're doing in the podcast a little bit. You're like, yeah, I know I said that. I was kind of a, uninformed person.
Yeah. And just to laminate the organization the show has always had, after doing an episode on the Space Quest series, I then decided to replay the Space Quest series just to get a fresh, view on it to share with nobody. Fantastic. What else? Space Quest 2, I'll say that just an amazing remake. As far as Space Quest 2 from our mate Sean Mills, who did the Sierra Adventure book, and then Stephen Alexander from Infamous Quest, Infamous Adventures. But it's really, really well done. It's got
voices and everything, man.
It's got voices. It's got some really fun little add-ons. Like I'm stalling because I guess I don't think I really want to say them. I'll say like it's got a new intro cut where there's like a David Letterman kind of spoof that's fun, and then there's just, I won't spoil them because it was fun for me to discover them on my own. But there's like 2 or 3 just other little things that you can do that you couldn't in the original. That's like just that right touch where not only is it a total like just giving it an SCI makeover alone, point and click makeover alone would have been plenty of enough. But then just throwing in like 1 or 2 little, from a true fan's heart kind of segments to the game, optional things that you can explore was such a nice touch. So if you haven't played Space Quest 2, play Space Quest 2. But if you have and you like kind of want to revisit it, but you don't, then plain and simple, go play the free remake, which is it shouldn't be free. It's like if you get it from Bloody Itch and they're like, do you want to give them the $2? Don't click no, take me to the downloads. All right, just give them $1. Buy them a coffee.
You said it exactly. I mean, it's a game made for fans by true fans. I mean, as soon as you get in there, you can see the passion. You can kind of feel it come through. So not like I'm trying to plug it. Obviously, I don't make money out of it, and neither do they. So just go and play it because I said it's good.
Yeah. But they do make money out of their other, games because there's IQ Super Professional Polished AGS games. They do make money off of the other games. So go buy those because they're mates of ours. They're both really good guys. So, and check out the Sierra Adventure book too. Just go buy all the things. Give everybody your money.
Yeah, it's I backed one of the King's Quest records where they did the sort of redo, and they did some sort of voice acting and did some music lately. You can buy a record based on a game that we loved in the freaking 1980s in this year. It can't be all that bad in 2021. It can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it is a really good time to be a adventure fan. So
It's all fine. You know what? We're looking at all our friends and going, huh? We told you, huh?
yeah.
We've been trying to tell you this shit's awesome for ages. Now it's like, oh my God, people are like going on Twitch. They're playing the games. They're getting into it. They're doing challenges to try to finish them. And I'm just like, this is what I have been holding out for.
Yeah, exactly. First there was hundreds of us. Now there's thousands of us.
At least one.
All right, so believe it or not, we've been going for quite a long time, and we've really just covered the ones that we love, because
Right.
I mean, that is a perk to it being our show, right? We get to do that stuff, which is cool. But let's do the last huge one, and then we're gonna skip around a bit, and then we'll get off of adventure here. But so the last big one, to our very patient and beloved, and according to my fictional statistics, market dominant LucasArts fans. Hey guys, we got Maniac Mansion. Hi, we got bloody Maniac Mansion for you. This one's a little controversial because I feel like it came out for like C64 and 86, but it doesn't matter. There was a lot of Sierra. You guys deserve this. I hope it's not also 86, because I got to say, if we're doing 86, there's only like fucking 3 games in that year, and if this is one of them that we're taking, that sucks.
Nope. We got it. We're in 87, and I'm excited to talk about this for 2 reasons. A, I have my original hard box for Maniac Mansion from back in the day, which is fine, no big deal. But B, I was at a local like curiosity shop, and this guy, he knows I'm into computer games, and he's like, "Oh man, somebody dropped off a game, but all it has is the disc and some paper." And the box is a little bit flattened. He's like, "So just take it off my hands." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I take it, and it's a Maniac Mansion box, and I'm reading the back, and I noticed the word lust on the back. And then I remembered, because it had been tweeted about, that was a thing by the guy that had done it, the whole lust box. And so I was like, oh, okay. So it turns out it's like the rarest version of any box. So I did some minor box repair, and I'm going to put it in like a little lucite case or something. I think it's pretty awesome. It was just so random.
Crazy.
He's just like, "Here, take this thing." I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Buddy, get it off my hands. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's something. Just to have the word lust on the box. I think it was Toys R Us that started the whole, like, you cannot have a game with lust on it, and they only put out the first run, right? That was it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. That's all just now clicking. The whole lore. Okay, I'm with you.
Yes. There's the lore being, if you don't know about it, it is a thing. You'd have to, all our listeners know already. They're nodding their heads and going, "Ooh, the lust box. Ooh," because I know y'all know that stuff. So
yes, from the Connoisseurs collection, of course. Aficionados.
I didn't know it was a thing till I had it, so I'm just like, damn. I make it sound like I already knew. I was like, "Ooh," but I'm reading the back and looking at the internet at the same time,
right? A skill in its own. Well done.
So when did you first encounter this marvelous little piece of graphic attention?
I don't know. I don't. My dad isn't with us anymore, but I'm such a nerd that if I could ask him 3 questions, one of them would be, why did we grow up with all the adventure games but no LucasArts ones? It's really weird. Now there's this caveat to that, being that we did have the Indiana Jones games, but that makes sense because he loved Indiana Jones. But I don't, and I can't even actually say that's a fact. It's just I don't have any memory. I don't have any like real nostalgia or like memory for like most of the LucasArts games. Like there are exceptions. Loom's another exception. We had that as a kid. So the Indies and Loom. And the Maniac Mansion, a friend of mine had. So I do have like childhood stuff, and I know I borrowed it a lot, so I probably played it at my house. So Maniac's also kind of exempt, but it's I didn't get to really play it until I was an adult. Like I said, a friend had it, and I watched him play it, and then I know I got a copy or brought his home or whatever. Whichever one's more legal sounding. I did that and played it.
That's one.
But my first like true experience with it, I would say was probably. No, I guess that's not true. I'm sorry. I'm obviously ill prepared to answer a simple question, but that's not true because I do remember the ending as a kid and stuff. So I guess it was as a kid. I'm sorry. Sorry
Mhm.
about that, everyone.
I mean, yeah, maybe it was a North American thing. We didn't get Maniac Mansion till in the 90s. I didn't play any LucasArts games until I got the LucasArts Archive Volume 3. I never, like, my dad brought home Loom, as I've mentioned in a previous episode, and I was like, what's this game? And he's like, I don't know. It's something to do with music. You won't like it. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't play it till I was older either. So I don't know why LucasArts wasn't around more. I don't, and it's not that my dad was actively avoiding it in any way. It's just, it, like I always thought it was because my dad was obsessed with collections, so he always made sure to come with home with Sierra games. So I just
Hmm.
thought maybe it's not Sierra, he's not interested, but I don't know. We just never really came across them until in the 90s, really.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure for myself either. It was selective because I'm thinking more like we did have the dig. It was like it was just maybe it was just more Monkey Island and Technical.
Hmm.
Where I'm just like, why, how could we not have had those if we had all all these other ones?
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So but to dig more into it, so I recently replayed it. There's some pretty cool versions or pretty cool options for it now too because
Hmm.
you've got the AGS deluxe version, right? So there's the original version for speaking of DOS anyway or PC,
Hmm.
let's say there's the original version and then there's the enhanced version, which I is from is for argument's sake, or I think actually factual sake is an EGA and a VGA version, right? So
Hmm.
Maniac Mansion is just EGA, Maniac Mansion Enhanced is bloody VGA,
VGA.
and then Maniac Mansion Deluxe is an AGS release that's free, fan made game of crazy high quality, same as the Space
Hmm.
Quest one, where it's um in as said by the people, not myself, right? Where it's just kind of known as like just a quality professional esque remake, and that one's really good too. It kind of gives it like FM Towns uh graphics, like what I mean, the style, it's I'm sure it's like a 256 VGA palette or whatever, but it has like an FM Towns kind of vibe to it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so you've got options if you've not played it or if you haven't played it since a kid or whatever. I guess what I'm doing is nudging you towards the AGS version because it's really cool. Um, there's also, if you have Day of the Tentacle, you've got it whether you know it or not because it's in every
Yeah.
version of Day of the Tentacle in the bedroom. What's weird, I think who was I believe it was Rick that was saying on one of our episodes that Scum VM like wouldn't let him play just Maniac Mansion from his files. Like he had to prove that he also had it, I think, for it to play in the game. It was kind of interesting.
It's
But yeah,
funny.
anyway, that's a cool fun fact. Like the entire Maniac Mansion, the entire prequel to Day of the Tentacle fits into itself. The prequel fits into itself.
That's a trip, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah.
It is. Well, the whole game's kind of a trip. I mean, you've got hamsters and spells. Well, not really spells, potions. I'm describing it terribly because I'm trying not to give anything away because I'm assuming there must be at least one other person that's seen it. But then I think, like, why should I care? I give away so much stuff in this show, like without any warning at the beginning of an episode. So I guess I don't really have to.
That's fair. Yeah, it's entirely fair. This game's I think it's really good. I mean, that's not an
Mhm.
original statement, but I guess okay. The reason for the weak sauce just there, sorry, is because I kind of like am battling with whether or not to say the game's underrated. Because on one hand, that's a laughable
Mhm.
statement, but on the other hand, is it? Because like I don't feel like it gets the love that most of the other Lucas games get, that Tentacle gets, for example, or obviously the Monkey Islands.
Mhm.
Even probably Sam and Max. I mean, it's Maniac's pretty quiet, right? Like it's definitely buried under Fandango and also
Mhm.
Throttle and Sam and Max and Tentacle and the Monkey Islands and Fate of Atlantis. And then like kind of Crusade and Mansion and Zach McCracken seem to be like left behind. I'm sure there's people
Which
listening right now who are like, this man's insane, he's completely wrong, everybody knows Maniac Mansion is what started it all. And I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying, like, as a game, I don't feel
Mhm.
like it's like I don't feel like I run into like a lot of conversations about the gameplay of Maniac Mansion or the story, I guess I should say, or like I don't know. It's it's almost like not a parody of itself, but it becomes one of those things where all you talk about is like what it represents, like the token of it, kind of like King's Quest 1, where it's like you skip the whole part. You skip the whole, when you talk about it, you don't really talk about the game part of it. You talk about the pioneer part of it. And it's like, but it's actually like a really good game. Like King's Quest 1 was, it's it's kind of rubbish, but like Maniac Mansion's a brilliant game.
Much so that they turned it into a TV show starring Eugene Levy that had like a whole 3 seasons. I've not seen it. I actually only discovered it was a thing that existed like a few weeks ago. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really, we tried, I guess to let the listeners in, we tried for longer than we try for most things to do an episode on the TV series, but we, despite a lot of effort to get a hold of anything tangible, we weren't even, we backed our expectations from like a season to like an episode or 3. We were just trying to find, more than clips or more than like a single episode. And we just couldn't do it. So if anybody out there actually has access to that in a legal way, let us know. Because we would love to tuck into that a little bit and then deliver an episode on the insanity that I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they still own films in Atlantis. So I, sometimes I'm surprised more things haven't been released out in the wide world, but this one, I'm not surprised we can't
Right.
frickin' find
No, me neither.
it anywhere. But it was a Canadian-American sitcom. It should be all over the place. There's bloody 62 episodes. Like, not at least one.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too. The reception was like really good. The first season, like it was received really well. Like you said, there's 62 or so. There was like 3 seasons. Like it wasn't a
Yeah,
like
there
it
is.
did significantly better than Sam and Max, the cartoon, which was for sure good.
It was good.
So yeah. Again, if anybody knows how to get a hold of that, because man, it's been a few months since I tried, but we put some effort into it. Could not bloody find it anywhere. We'd like to do an episode on that. But anyway, so yeah, back to the game. You got your classic. Ron Gilbert's thing was like he was watching a family member play King's Quest. Like they had gotten it for Christmas, and he was struggling with what to do next for his new job and such. And he was like, let's do an adventure game, but I don't want to do parser, and that's where we get the well, obviously he wrote Scum, because Scum stands for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion, and it's just this whole legacy is born. It is LucasArts' King's Quest to a degree, and it's while King's Quest is kind of the godfather of graphic adventure, you could say that Maniac Mansion is the godfather of point and click. Because it is. We're talking 87s. So we're looking at Sierra's just at their AGI peak, but AGI obviously being a parser thing, and here Lucas being the pioneers, coming in with the point and click first and killing it.
Exactly, and they kind of kept it. Yeah, and they kept the format through most of their games. I mean, essentially, it set the framework for pretty much every other LucasArts games ever since.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've got almost all our games on the Scum engine, and Scum is literally stands with the M in Scum as Maniac Mansion. So there you go. As far as historical significance, but anyway, the game's really fun. You get to a quick breeze over, because I find it hard to believe that many of the listeners wouldn't have at least an idea of what the game's about. But it's like you get to it. Some of the really cool things it did, especially for its time, was giving you a couple of characters, letting you pick who you're going to take with you, like building your team. The team having different strengths. Obviously you've got like Bernard, who goes on to the sequel with Day of the Tentacle, but you've got Bernard, who's like the brains, and Dave, who's kind of he's Dave, and Razor, and so on and so on.
Useless.
Exactly. And so you choose, and that gives you varying gameplay, because you can solve things in different ways with different players' strengths and weaknesses. It was really complex.
Exactly. Is it pictures? Is it music? Is it like, is it writing? I mean, that's the fun thing. And what I found a little bit overwhelming about this game the first time I saw it is there was just so much to take in. because you've got to figure out A, who each character is, B, what they can do, C, why you need them, D, what do you do when you get captured? Like there's just so much to take on in this game. It was a lot. I think that is
Yeah,
so cool.
it's a whole nother layer of complexity for an adventure game. You know, all of a sudden open this possibility up to co-op, like with yourself. So now it's like strategizing in a chess-like fashion where you're trying to move 2 or 3 different pawns around this mansion to get, to achieve the goal. So it was really, really cool in that sense. I think my aversion to it was largely the graphics. I'm not a big fan of that particular art style, which is, it's not a knock. Yeah, it's
Big
not a
head
knock on
and
it, because it is. I recognize it as just purely personal taste on my end. So, like, no offense, I get it. If you like it, I get it. Whatever. It's just a personal thing. But yeah, kind of the same with Zach McCracken. But again, both of those games. And the other thing too with Maniac Mansion is, like, especially like the EGA DOS, or even a little worse with like the C64 versions. They're very, like, it's just, there's a lot of just black and a lot of just, I don't know, it's not as, they're not as visually appealing as the Sierra counterparts of 87, let's say, art wise. Like, especially compared to like Space Quest 2 or even Police Quest 1, which is actually a really beautiful game too. Underrated game art wise, because Mark Crow, did some awesome pieces for that too. But to if to those listening, like, please stop relentlessly shitting on something I love. I will, because I'll say that the VGA was a huge step up, and it got rid of the things I didn't like. Because again, the EGA it had these like weird kind of bleached colors, like things were just. I'm not saying like I need like buckets of saturation and stuff, which is Gold Rush, and I do love that, but it was just, I don't know, it was off putting to me. And then they
yeah, like Dr. Fred. Everything about his in the original one was a little bit like whited out, like kind of hard to see just in the colors. Or like if I'm thinking Jeff is the character represented in the same way
Right.
with the
Yeah,
colors.
exactly. Yeah, there was just something about it that was like almost I can almost recall my impressions as a kid, and this is, in a snotty judgmental way, but I remember looking at it and thinking it was like kind of homemade looking compared to the Sierra games, just art wise. Now, like, the insides, like let's open up the hood and see how she runs, like, is way more complex than the Sierra games of that time. Like I was just kind of going through with different combinations of characters for different outcomes, and it was kind of on a different level than just Larry or Space Quest 2 or Police Quest 1. But again, art wise, and that's maybe why I opened with check out the enhanced version, because it's to anybody listening who doesn't know, sorry, not the enhanced, the deluxe on AGS. So to anybody listening who doesn't,
Deluxe, yeah.
who can't visualize the deluxe but is familiar with the Zach McCracken FM towns, it's the same kind of look. It's just, they're just gorgeous. FM towns for the LucasArts ports were really beautiful. Or there's a Loom one that was gorgeous, and anyway, so yeah, long story short.
It's more like the text is like, long story short, I cut you off. But yeah, the text is like Day of the Tentacle-ish kind of, and it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's just pretty. 256 colors is a lot of
Yeah,
colors to work with.
yeah, exactly. It's just pretty. But yeah, Maniac's just, I'll leave it at this and just say that it's not like, it's, I think anybody could be forgiven for just leaving King's Quest where it was, and like respecting it as like a pantheon, and not bothering to play it. But when it comes to Maniac Mansion, like, don't do that to this one. Like, actually stop and play Maniac Mansion, because you might just finish it and be like, wow, like that is a really good game. Like, it's just a really fun, good game. And I don't know. I'd like to hear like the story and things like that talked about a little bit more. But at the same time, people are busy talking about Technical and other really great games too that they went on to do afterwards. So it's all the same. Yeah.
Well, I felt that way about a lot of their games, even when we did Sam and Max just recently for that episode. I'm sitting there like shaking my head and going, how is this game so flippin' good?
Yeah, exactly. They just, I mean, we've kind of touched on that too. To literally answer it, it's like, well, you cherry pick who you want, you put them on literally Skywalker Ranch, and you say all you have to do is not lose money, be creative, and have fun. That's how you do it. One game a year, no Christmas deadline, no stress, no nothing. God bless them for doing it, because we got some just amazing games out of it. Even you, Zach McCracken.
Exactly. Even you, Zach. Well, and so I was going to bring up initially King's Quest 3 because my big box says it was made in 1987, but when I open it up and I look at the inside, I can see it was done in 1986. So it's another one of those box abnormalities. I only bring it up because I came across this before. Now, here's what I'm curious. Like, I didn't realize that the boxes would change the date if it was a re-release or a second release. I always thought the date on the box would have been the original release date of the game, but I'm guessing that is not necessarily the case.
Yeah, we're really digging up a lot of questions, more questions than answers on box dates here through this little series with what's going on there. But you had pointed out too before recording was your box is one of the ones with the over 500,000 copies sold badges, so it must have been the next year to do that. But all right, so I'm looking at our list. I'm looking at the time. We got to cover some non-adventure games, so I'm just going to quickly touch on 2 more adventure games because fuck you. Because I started talking next. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Luck of the
You
draw.
jumped in first. That's all right. I'll interrupt you at one point. All right, go.
All right, so I got two more. One of them is really short. I'll do the slightly longer-winded one first, which is Shadowgate, because I love Shadowgate. We had Macs before PCs, and so Shadowgate was a Mac venture game. Same people who did like Deja Vu, and some other stuff, Dragon Sphere, I believe, but Deja Vu especially is in this style. I know it was for Macintosh first, so it was black and white. And then it got ported to all the systems, including DOS. But it's got a lot of popularity, a surprising amount of popularity, or so I thought at first, because it was ported to the NES. So like on YouTube, things like that, for example, there was recently a success, not arguably recently, a successful Kickstarter for a remake of it, and things like that, where I was like, wow, like I didn't Shadowgate, really? Like, it's not super huge in like the adventure community, and it's nothing more than an adventure game. But I think that was the reason, because it made its way over to NES, and so a lot of Nintendo players actually are quite fond of it. But anyway, it's a really cool game, and to give you a quick visual, be like, I think it's pretty close to spellcasting, where you got kind of those static windows.
I'm actually looking at it now, and holy shit, I had a friend who had a Macintosh computer when I was in grade 6, and this is one of the games I'm just getting hit with like oh my God, I've seen this before. I didn't even know that's what it was called, but we totally played this together on her computer. Wow, dude, I haven't seen this since I was in freaking elementary school.
It's happening live on air. This is nostalgia.
I'm feeling it. I like the little inventory system's what clued me in, right? It's got that you can just place your stuff over in the little square over there and, open up your multi windows and do your thing.
And what's crazy, I don't know if you can see, there's a screenshot that has Death, like the with the black hood, Death, the skeleton guy, and just anytime I see that screenshot, I hear the bleep of, like, it was like that do 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 do. It would play that like really slow in a computer bleep when you die, and like as a kid it was chilling. I mean, as a really young kid, in my defense, but yeah, it was really scary to me.
No, I totally get that. The whole ambiance here and the realism. You've got your picture for your movement. My God, this looks so Macintosh.
Yeah, it could not look more Macintosh. You're right. Yeah.
It's like the whole game is essentially based within the Macintosh system. Like, it looks like an extension of the browser itself.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it literally does. Like, it's got the actual like System 7 GUI built into the vibe of it. And I don't, maybe that's why it's called Mac Venture. I'm not sure, but yeah. And again, it was ported to everything else too. But yeah, it is literally like, yeah. Well, okay, I'll back up a step and say I'm glad you brought up the inventory, because that's one of the two kind of points where I really did want to force this into the episode instead of just letting it go, because it was kind of like I don't know, it was almost like it was pretty visionary for its time, because it has this really cool, as you brought up a second ago, Anna, the inventory windows to your left, and it's like a little tiny sandbox. So you put your inventory in there wherever you want, and it's there, and you could click it and drag it around and just whatever. one of those things with like a desktop. If you're a messy person, it's a stack of icons. If you're not, you sort it all out on your own. And that's kind of interesting just for mixing and matching and lighting torches and things like that. There's a lot of lighting torches in this game.
Yeah, if you can't figure out how to light a torch, you should probably not play this game. That's the first challenge: light a torch.
And then it's got a cool. Maybe I'm not even sure about cool, but an interesting early swing at tackling a dungeon crawly map system for a sort of adventure game for kind of a first person experience, let's say. Because I'm sure it's probably confusing the hell out of anybody that doesn't have a visual of this game to be like dungeon crawl and adventure game. But I assure you, it almost makes sense. If I knew what a dungeon crawl technically was, I'd confirm that. But the point is because it's first person, you do need like a system to get around the dungeon that you're in, because it is a dungeon. And it's just interesting. It's these check boxes. So each room you're in, to the right of your art screen. So there's the art screen in the center, or your graphics. To the left, there's the inventory. To the right, there's the map thing, and it's a square with check boxes in it. And depending on which room you're in, like when you walk into a new room, the position of the little tick boxes changes to where your exits are. And then you tick maybe the rear exit, and it's hard. Yeah, all right. This is maybe a visual thing. Sorry, but it's unique inventory, unique map thing. I'll finish it off by saying there is a color version as well for all the other ports. If you know what you're doing, you can finish this game in 19 minutes, which is kind of almost depressing probably for the developers of it. And yeah, there was a Kickstarter to do a remake. It was successful. I didn't dig the look of the remake, so I'm not going to bother, but you guys could check it out. I don't have enough information about it. Maybe, like if it was released in like 2012 or whatever, or something, like I get it graphic wise because it's 3D. I don't know. I'll just leave it there because I don't know. The last thing I'll say, because in '93 we must have missed this, is there's a game called Return to Shadowgate. And this is interesting. So the sequel to this game is Return to Shadowgate. It was made in '93. And unlike Shadowgate, the sequel is a classic point and click. So like it's a third person, just classical point and click game, but it's done like with scrolling platform background, like parallax backgrounds. And then like the sprites got like a black outline, like it just had like the art and the parallax background, like it's all got a console feel, but it's a classic point and click game. And then the other weird part is that the only system it was ever available on was TurboGrafx. So that's the thing.
TurboGrafx.
Yeah, exactly. Before we came on air, Anna was in the middle of a fist fight with her microphone, and I was trying to load it on my PCE emulator. I didn't have enough time to see that through. But for anybody curious out there, if you happen to have a legal copy of it like I did, you can run it through a PCE emulator, like PCE.emu on Android and iOS. Bloody give it a go. All right, that's all I got. Oh, one more. Sorry, one more. Mortville Manor.
Oh, so go ahead. Just to back to the Shadowgate for half a second. I'm looking at the 2014, and it's doing like a comparison of what it used to look like and what it looks like in this very three-dimensional remake. And just on this impression alone, although the graphics are absolutely gorgeous, go play the original if you're gonna play the game. Probably.
It's so funny to look at a comparison of these two, and both of us are like, I don't like the graphics of the new one.
Exactly, it's much too.
Seems a bit extra, if you ask me. I mean, frankly, is it all necessary? A bit showy.
A little bit much. So anyways, just want to say it's a pretty game, and I don't mean to throw any shade at the people who made the remake. I am absolutely impressed with this art, hands down gorgeous. If I wasn't a classic gamer, I'd be all in.
And if you grew up like playing that game and you didn't know there was a remake till now, you're probably, if you might be pumped to get all over it, because it'd be cool. Like if I had more nostalgia for it, I would definitely buy it. But anyway, Shadowgate, that's a game.
You have another one.
Yeah, right. I got one more. It's called Mortville Manor. And it's just an interesting little game that I guess I kind of constantly have overlooked in all these years, although it was in my own Dropbox. Because I suspected that maybe I'd come across it at some point, trying to archive old games and such, and I did. But anyway, I hadn't at least read about it, and it's interesting. It's like I guess. Well, first of all, I'm stuttering a little bit because I'm trying to simultaneously Google search it smoothly so the audience doesn't know I'm doing that, and I fucked it up. So I'm just calling that out. But
Oh, I see. No, that's okay. That's trippy. Oh, wow, that's an entirely different sort of communication system. It's like using all of your file menus, but instead there's actions in
yes,
them.
exactly, and that's exactly why I wanted to bring this up. So one, when you look at it, it's like if you haven't heard of it before, you might look at it and be like, "Wow, how haven't I seen this?" Because it's like a very polished, good-looking pixel
Mhm.
art adventure game from the era. Um, but as Anna just said, it's
Mhm.
got a red. So to Macintosh users, it's got the same menu bar that we have to this day. With the Finder bar drop down at the top. It's not in the Mac style. Like the Sierra Mac ports
Hmm.
or the Shadowgate that we were just talking about, but it's the same idea where you have your menu bar at the top, but then there's an overwhelming amount of options. Are you seeing this, Anna?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm feel like I was overwhelmed with the amount of options in the spell casting, and like literally there is more. You've got your act, attach, close, eat, enter, force, knock, leave, lift, listen, look, open, put, read, scratch, search, sleep, smell, sound, take, turn, wait. That's only in the act. You've also got move, inventory, dis. I don't know what dis is.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, and so when Anna says like that's only an X, you've got like the menu has subcategories up top, right? So like instead of file, edit, view, etc., it's got inventory, move, act, self, dis, and files, and then just act alone has all those ones that she read off. Just and the graphic attached to that
Wow.
screenshot is it's just a kitchen. Like we're just looking at a stove
Mhm.
and a cupboard, and it's like you've got 16 options to choose from. But anyway,
Wow.
if you're an adventure fan, which I just pray to God you are, if you're listening to this, much less 70 minutes into it, um, Google buddy, Google Mortville Manor, throw like PC game in there,
Mhm.
and just check out some screenshots. If nothing else, it's pretty fascinating. And then I will say, as I YouTubed it real quick just to watch a little bit of it before this episode, and the playthrough. Granted, this is if you know what you're doing, but the playthrough for this one was 11 minutes. So if you know what you're doing, you can get through this in a breezy 11 minutes, even with 73 options per interaction.
Oh my god, there's voice in this
Oh,
game.
thank you. That was the other
What?
thing I didn't write in my notes, was that they decided to go with text to speech voice acting. So
Yeah, holy cow, I'm actually super
right?
shocked I'm getting
And so
voice
in
here as well.
1987, you got this adventure game, and they decided to do. I mean, I'm guessing you could probably turn it off. I'm not sure, but all the text is automatically read in that classic, not late 80s, text to speech voice. Hello, how are you today? That guy.
Mhm.
That wasn't very good, but I have regrets. But anyway, all right. That's adventure games. It's been 83 some minutes. So if you want to spend 43 seconds on other stuff, we got time.
Alright, I'm gonna hit it up. I'm gonna say that there are games in the ooh, my neighbors must be having a football game here, hold on. Yeah, the games I played in this year are awesome and pretty memorable. Contra. I had a church. There was like a Sunday school thing, and in the basement, the boy that had the house, he had a Nintendo, and he had Contra on it. And I would go down, and there was like three other boys that, for some whatever reason, they didn't have to be upstairs for church. So I just joined them, and we played Contra, and nobody ever bothered us. So I had like many happy hours. Illegally, irresponsibly playing Contra. Did you ever play that one?
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, that's so.
So there you go. So Paul's played Contra. Have you played Street Fighter? I think we've talked about that briefly, or at least two I know
Yeah,
you've
I really
played.
like 2. Was this the first one?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
first one. Yeah, like the first Mega Man, the first Street Fighter.
Love
California
that
Games,
game.
freaking love
Yes.
California Games. How else would locals know about hacky sacking? If you don't live in California, this'll teach you.
You sounded very Canadian just then.
Oh, yeah, hacky sack. You can. That's a thing. So California Games is great. There's skateboarding, there was roller skating, and it was a super addictive game. That one was fun.
Love
Marble
that.
Madness. I mean, that was
Yeah,
on
Marble Madness is
Macintosh,
great. Love
right?
that.
So
Afterburner was
that
good.
was yeah, like the racing game. Mike Tyson's Punch Out,
Of course,
freaking great
yes.
game too. Wonder Boy and Monsterland, which I just rediscovered recently. It was like a cute little, RPG kind of Mario style game, but it's got snakes and hearts, and I don't know. It's just absolutely adorable. I'm guessing you haven't played that one.
No. No.
No, I could tell
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
silence
just
there.
my eyes glazed over.
We got Mario Brothers 2. Everybody's played that one. That's an awesome game. I don't know what I could say other than now I can officially hashtag Mario Brothers 2 to get more listens on this episode because it's in year. Yeah, that's a thing. I would do that.
Oh,
Also, ancient art.
but
Go ahead.
Bloody Doki Doki Panic, because I feel like there's a large group of people
Yes.
that love that kind of stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what Mario 2 was made out of, right? They
Oh,
made
that was
Doki
that.
Doki Panic, and then it was like, right, we're gonna skin it as Mario
Right.
2. So
Thank
that's
you.
what they did.
God,
Mhm.
that would be embarrassing if I claimed to host a Classic Gamers podcast show or something. Thank God. Thank God I don't do that.
Yeah, thank God you already knew the fact. No, okay. Ancient Art of War at Sea, which I have the big box on too. Another beautiful box, a beautiful game that I didn't play. I played just the Ancient Art of War as a kid, but this came out in 1987, and even if you don't want to play it, you might want the big box.
Yeah, and you got
So,
your Jaws. Oh, there's another one. I had like a short list of like please say these things. Phantasy Star. That's one that's got to be said.
Oh yeah, I've actually played. I put like 6 hours into the game Phantasy Star because potentially it was going to be an episode idea, and what happened was I realized that all of the caves and the dungeons were mazes. Like all of them, it would appear.
Yikes.
And I really wanted to keep going. And like I said, I built up my characters. My stats were good. I was kicking butt in the fights. I was getting the hang of the game. And then I was like, I can't do mazes on top of it. So I stopped, intending to go back, but I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah. Well, listen. I've about had it with all this bullshit. Hold on, sorry. There's more. Final Fantasy, right? That's a get crucified for not saying it title. Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
We
you
said it
have to say
twice.
that.
Two
That's a big
times.
one. And the first Ultima game, I mean, we're supposed to mention those. So the first
I
one
still
of
don't
those
see it.
happened in that
I
year.
never see it.
It is. Well, hang on. Let me see.
Google's trying to get us in trouble. Never show us the
No,
Ultimate.
honey.
All right. While you're doing that, we got your Double Dragon,
Here it is.
Zelda 2.
No, it's not that Ultima one. It's the other Ultima. There was an Ultima. Hang on.
I think
1987.
we're in the middle of a thing.
Yeah, there it is. Ultima 1, The First Age of Darkness. It was an Ultima 1, but it wasn't that Ultima 1.
I don't.
Yeah. So there's other.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on the video. It says copyright 1987. Ultima. Now, I don't know enough about the early Ultima games, so people are going to be very upset. But this is the first game in the Ultima series, or simply Ultima 1. Yes. 1981 is when it came out. So I'm not sure about why 1987 also. So somebody that knows more than I do. I keep asking you lovely listeners to email me, and I'm not sure that that's happening. But hopefully, yeah, find this out for me because it says right here on the video that it's 1987. So obviously, I don't know enough to talk about this. This is why I didn't bring these games up in my other episodes. I am uninformed. Hey, what did come out is Thexter, which has amazing music, and two of the most amazing non-adventure games ever in existence, and that would be Wheel of Fortune and
Wow, I
Jeopardy.
didn't see that coming.
Yeah. They are so good. I had them both, and I used to love them.
Oh, and she's serious. Okay, double down. Yeah, fair
No,
enough.
seriously. Seriously. Totally. It wasn't I was looking through it, and I even remembered that I used to play those games, so I went and watched the video of the episode. Again, nostalgia wave,
Right.
heavy,
All
man.
right. Fair enough.
Mhm.
Well, you got
Okay,
your
yeah.
Shinobi. Shinobi's people like Shinobi.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
did you do Pirates?
Yeah, Sid Meier's Pirates, that's in there too. That's a great game.
Operation Wolf. So there's other stuff. Other stuff came out that year too. R type.
Yeah, definitely the first Ultima. I'm still on the Ultima thing. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I
figure
just
it out. Google, I was trying to use you to research and you're failing me.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, if you go into our back catalog, we actually had Richard Garriott on the show.
That
But it
was a
was
thing
Rick.
that
We weren't
did
there,
happen,
so
and
we're not posers. All right, the person who was educated to be there
Mhm.
was there. I was supposed to be.
Mhm.
Granted.
Mhm. And I wasn't because I wasn't on the
Yeah,
podcast yet.
yeah. But if you would like to hear from Richard Garriott and somebody on our show who knows Ultimate well, knows what they're talking about, interview them. You could go check that out again, or don't. This
Mhm.
is not for money. So
It was a great episode though. Like Rick went out of his way to ask questions that I hadn't heard answered anywhere else. So if you have even the tiniest bit of curiosity about Richard Garriott, just go back and give it a listen. It's fascinating all the way through. It's one of my top 5 favorite interview episodes.
Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Metal Gear. We
Mm.
got.
I like
I'm
that
just
too.
gonna name games and fade myself out.
All right, go.
All right. Well, that's our show. Probably. Do you have anything? Do you want to say stuff? More stuff?
Oh, no, I think we've said enough stuff. I'm sure people turned this off at least 15
Yeah.
minutes
Well,
ago.
maybe they got stuck in traffic or something. But if you're at this part of the show, then congratulations, you made it. You made it to the end. We're paging a group on Facebook. I think we went 5 minutes too long because I just you you can hear the lack of heart I have behind this outro. The energies just escape the room. Okay, all right, don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. I'll make it better. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. There's a lot of adventure game podcasts out there, and you choose ours. So we want to thank you. We're a page in a group on Facebook, Classic Gamers Guild. Check us out. We're on Twitter. Do us a bloody tweet at CGG Podcast. Anna's running the Twitter nowadays, so you can say hi to her there. The same Twitter. It's also Anna. I know it's weird, right? But it's the show and Anna. So if you want to talk to this Anna, you could do that on Twitter. If you want to say hello to me for some reason, you could also do that on Twitter. Uh,
And then
yeah, exactly. At Phantom Fellows, you could say hello there.
Yeah. That'd be more likely.
So just do the thing there. We're on Instagram at CGG Podcast as well. Same for Twitter and Instagram. Hand hit the symbol again. Sorry. What else? We're on Patreon. A huge thank you to all of our Patreons. Thank you very much for supporting the show. It really, 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 really helps out because we gotta pay hosting for our Podbean, and we also have to pay for clean feed, which allows us to interview people and things like that, and provide you guys with decent sound quality, the best we can, considering she's in Canada and I'm in Colorado. So thank you guys, because again, the Patreon, long story short, just almost pays for those things, and the rest of it is our pleasure, because we really enjoy doing this for you guys as well. So thank you to our Patreons. Thank you to those in our extra special tier tanks. Special thanks, extra bloody thank you. The thank you so damn much tier, which we're gonna have to rename it. I don't even know who's in it because I haven't checked it in 3 or 4 weeks. I
hope somebody's still in there.
think Jay Holmes, you probably are. We love you, man. You're awesome. And anybody else, even to those who used to be, you got your Mark, Philly and Mark, and Una and Gus, and we love all you guys. Jean-Francois Pache, Jean, I miss saying your name. Hey, give us a lot of money again so I can keep saying it. Because I just legally cannot unless you do. No, thank you to everybody who supports the show regardless. To those in the extra special theater tanks, even though I don't know who you are, we do apparently extra appreciate you guys, even though we couldn't take 4 minutes to find out who the fuck you are. Fantastic. Who's running this bullshit? Look, no, for real though, I fucked this whole show up the last couple of weeks because I took a few weeks for personal stuff, all very happy, good things. And we just kind of got back, and this isn't like we're back from vacation, let's do a show while we're relaxed. This was more of a holy shit, we have to get a show in before Tuesday because that's too many Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. So we're getting this one out there, and then we got some good actual pre-planned stuff for you guys coming up, such as an interview with a reoccurring guest you guys are gonna love. Well, at least you did the first time. No, you will. And then some other pretty cool stuff, including a game I've wanted to cover since we started the bloody show, that we're going to cover really soon. So anyway, that's the ending stuff. It felt long. I think it was long. If you don't mind, check out our game. Working really bloody hard on it. You want a guilt? I'll give you a guilt story. I'm walking uphill in the bloody snow with a child on my nipple, making an adventure game for you lot. So and I would just appreciate any support if you want to. Again, if you don't, what am I going to do? I'm just a voice in your car speaker right now, or your buds pods. So, oh yeah, the game's called The Phantom Fellows, and Anna is a huge help with making the game and a lot of aspects with the game. So it truly is an us thing, and I'm working full time on it every day. And I'm hoping to make something you guys really like. So if you don't mind giving it a bloody wish list on Steam, that really helps make Steam think that people care about the game. And then Steam's like, well, if they care, then we'll make money. So we'll, let people know it exists. And, that's how that works. So bloody wish list it. Or go to the website, phantomfellows.com. You can find it there. Just send me thousands of dollars. Because it's been 15 minutes of me ending the show, and it's a lot of just needy little things like, hey, please do this and that. So why don't we just cut the bullshit, send me a check for $27,000, and I'll never do this again. But if you don't, we're a page and a group on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. If you're active, anyone's still listening, say just on Facebook, be like Strawberry Cinnabon, just so we know that you actually heard this heaping pile of bullshit and we can apologize.
You know what?
What?
If somebody comes back at us with that code word, I will give them a free game code, but only the first one and the first time, and you have no way to know if it's already happened. So if you hear it, say it, try. Yeah. You might get one. I might even give out 2 or 3. That'd be more emails than we usually get on an episode. I got lots of game codes.
And it won't be the game we're making. All right, that's a bullshit move.
It's a free demo on Steam, and it's yours.
Beta access. None of this shit works.
All of the crashes, none of the fun.
Oh God! All right. Well, listen.
All right,
buddy. Okay. Thanks for listening. We love you guys. Don't do murder.